Want to support the channel? Don't want to spend any money? Hey, follow me on my socials or just even click subscribe. It really helps me out. Seriously.
Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, collectors. It's Steven here. What's going on today? We're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Venom, but in anime styling. That's right. He's going to have the red and the blue on him, and oh boy, he looks very good. Venom here is going to be sporting a brand new body style, which I would imagine that they would be using moving forward, at least for Venom, because hey, you know what? It's Big Papa Hasbro, and this one, being a PulseCon exclusive, limited in nature, I would definitely assume is going to get retooled or reused or repainted in some way for a mass market release. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, for this specific one, like I said, it was a limited con release, and now, even though it retailed for about 30 bucks, it goes north of 70 on the aftermarket. Is this one going to be worth hunting down, or maybe should you just hold off and pick up another Venom on the market? Let's take a look to see whether or not he's worth adding into your collection. So let's switch right on over to the figure, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've re-recorded this and changed the general outline of this section. So let's just go ahead and get to a nice, quick, and dirty version of this, because it's impossible for me to be parsimonious with this. So this Venom body is going to be different than the one that we had in the past. So yay, Venom is going to be sporting new articulation, which we'll see that in that section, and new accessories. But for what we get here, I mean, we do have little veins on Venom's forearms, which look great. We have the giant monster hands, fantastic. The tongue is nice, very cool. I love everything that's going on here for the sculpt. The paint is definitely going to be the figure's weak point. Now, I really want to hone everything in. Marvel Legends really started off in recent memory at 20 bucks, creeped up to 22. Now they're at about 25 at retail. This one, being a PulseCon exclusive, was 30 bucks. Okay, I accept that. With shipping and tax, which that is not what Hasbro factored in to the actual price, but what we had to pay getting this from Hasbro, it brings it up between $42 to $45. And I feel like when you have some other figures that are on the market that are right alongside this, quality control definitely needs to be tightened up. Reason being is that this is not going to be let's say $20 or $28 Marvel Legends that's just going to be sitting on the shelf at Target, that if you have something that goes wrong, you can just do a quick swap out. And what are those wrong things? Well, Venom right there on the chest, one of the focal points, I have a little paint bubble that popped. That's not cool. I wish that could be fixed. Venom's got 2 holes on top of his shoulders. I know they reuse bodies, but you can't plug it for just one unique sculpt that you're going to sell like hotcakes in your exclusive store. Then you do have the butterfly hinges. If you take a look closely, those appear to be a purple color compared to the black that is going to be used for the casting of Venom's body. Now, if you flip it over to the back, Hasbro's not consistent with how they're doing this unique shading thing. So on the top of Venom's torso, by his straps, we're going to have the blue and red flipped compared to the front of his body. But then if you go down to his thighs, they're the same. But if you go to the back of his arms, they're flipped once again. So what's going on? And then you find the miscellaneous drips and blips here and there on Venom. That's going to be from the paint, and that's just quality control. So overall, I do think Venom has a lot of good things going for him. It's kind of disappointing when you're holding this in hand. You see the craftsmanship is not necessarily up to the standards that we would expect for the price point. All right, articulation time. So here, this is a new Venom body. Now, will we get a retail release, maybe without the funky colors? I would say likely, but the articulation, we may have seen before because it says 2018 on the bottom of the foot. So, the engineering, yeah, Marvel Legends, they like to reuse parts, so you're probably familiar with it, but we still got to go over it. So what do we have? Well, head is going to plug in on a ball joint, and then that is going to be on a hinge. So as you can see, that is going to be the range until the head pops off looking back. So it's not quite popped in all the way, but you can see Venom can basically look straight up with a little bit of a forgiveness. You can hear rather the head pops in, and then looking down about that far. The alternate head sculpt, it actually can do a quick stress test. We're going over the accessories at the same time. There we go. It actually, for whatever reason, seems to have a lesser range of movement. I'm not seeing any real changes to the sculpt here, and it actually looks like there's a little bit of a divot at the bottom of the default head, so a little curious as to what's going on there, but I like my Venom. with his tongue out. Now that we're done talking about the head and neck, we are going to have butterfly hinges, which allow you to move Venom's arms in and out, which is pretty nice. As you can see here, you can kind of take on like a, I don't know, I think of Hulk Hogan when I think of that. Here's what it looks like from the back. And as you can see, the plastic does look just a little bit different, which we did talk about a bit in the Sculpt and Paint section. But I am going to talk about one thing here when we talk about Venom Spider, since we're moving Venom around. I'm actually touching him. Yeah. So the shoulders are actually going to plug into the body on a swivel hinge combo, so we can spin the arms around and we can raise and lower them. Do take note that if you do raise Venom's arms, you're going to have to drop them just a little bit, I feel, in order to get good clearance for those hinges. For the butterfly hinges, moving them forward and back. I am starting to scrape up the paint just a little bit, so it's something to keep in mind. We do have a dedicated bicep swivel, which is really good, and usual double hinge elbows, which is very nice. All of the hands Venom's going to come with are going to be on swivels and hinges, so they spin around, and then they move forward and back with the palm and the back of the hand, which is cool. Venom is going to have an ab crunch, so here's how far back he goes, and then he is going to move all the way down that far, which is really nice. We're going to spin the waist for a swivel. Hips, kick out about that far. Forward, he is actually going to be able to max out safely and, you know, in a reasonable way that far. As you can kind of see, he kicks up. So, yeah, keep in mind. And then he goes back that far, which is neat. So, thigh swivels, which were really stuck on mine, something to keep in mind, so this way you don't ham-hand it and break it. And then we're going to have double hinge knees. Cool. Ankles, hinge, move forward and back, and then swivel for that ankle rocker movement. Now, I didn't really talk about this in the Sculpt and Paint section because, well, even though I probably should have, this is more of a tactile thing. So, Venom's itsy-bitsy spider on his body. So it's going to be on his front, it's going to be on his back. For whatever reason, it's not like wet, it's not transferring anything, but it is noticeable. It's like tacky. Don't know what's going on there. Now, for articulation, to kind of sum that up, Venom moves very well. I actually really like it. It's a good figure, but it's a little disappointing that when it comes to that there are some not so great stuff, not so great things to report back when it comes to quality control, because you'd think that that's something they could tighten up. Now, if this was a $20 or now, what, $25, $28 ml that was on the shelf, you know, you could just pick right up at Target, that wouldn't be an issue. But here's the thing. They were charging like, what, $32 through Pulse, and then factoring in shipping, which even though that may not go to Papa Hasbro, we're still paying for that. So end cost is going to be about $43. Yeah. And then when you you got something like this sitting on the shelf next to Marvel Legends or one or two aisles over, go ahead and get technical in the comments. Yeah, I know they're broski. But anyway, articulation for Venom is really good. You can tell how much I care about my import stuff when I toss it around. But for the Sculpt and Paint, just to go back to it a little bit, I don't know what's going on there. It's a little odd. Accessories, and I really don't need to go too in-depth with this because I love it. And Hasbro, this is the basics that all your figures should come with. So Venom is going to come with an alternate head sculpt that the tongue will be in his mouth. Okay, so all figures don't need to come with that. You know what I mean. Venom is going to come by default with splayed hands, and then he's going to come with fists. That's it. That's what you need for your humanoid figures. You need fists or hands to hold the accessories and splayed hands. You do that, you're good. You're done. You really don't need to put much else in. That's what all humanoid figures need. Comes with all of the essential accessories that he's going to need. And if you need support stands, which I would recommend checking out, I know I got videos to help you out there. So size comparison, you can see that this Venom is going to be a big boy. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be intimidating. He's really going to make all the Spideys on your shelf really, they should have worn the brown suit that day. I really don't have much else to say there. I think he's very appropriately sized. Now, here's going to be a side-by-side comparison with the Absorbing Man Wave Venom, just so this way you can get a good idea of how many differences there are between the two sculpts and also the size comparison differences. One's manga, one's anime, but hey, it is what it is. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. This really is an awesome release. Don't get me wrong. On paper, it's fantastic. It's a very experimental release from Big Papa Hasbro. Shout out to Alpha Investments. And realistically speaking, this should have worked across all fronts. But then you have minor things in the quality control which absolutely could have been tightened up. You can just turn that wrench a little bit more at the $30 price point that you're going to be selling this at for quote-unquote retail. The articulation on my unit is rather fine. I like it good enough. And the accessories, dead on. That is exactly what you needed. Now, if we could have axed the box to get tighter quality control, I would have been for that. Overall, I don't feel like I got my money's worth for this release. Particularly, again, I keep hammering this home when it comes to quality control. But then again, at the same time, it's only $30. But then again, at the same time, I got the NECA Part 7 Jason, and that thing was practically nearly perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect figure, but it was nearly perfect. But then we have Venom here, which is so it's kind of like a never-ending battle back and forth between what we expect for the price point versus what we got. Overall, I'm pleased with it. It's acceptable. I do like it. But then again, I'm a huge fan of Venom. A fellow reviewer of mine featured it in a video and then sold it and got his $70 worth. So, yeah, that should say enough. It's good if you like Venom. If not, it's an easy skip.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for STR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.